Morning, everybody, and welcome to Mystics MMOs. I'm your host, Mystic Raven, and there's a blizzard outside as we speak. Um, Kind of interesting. I get a call, the school's cancel, and I'm thinking, okay, there was a little snow last night. No, there's feet of snow, literally, outside at the moment. And one of my viewers, Kelly, last night said, "Oh, here comes the snow," and I was like, "Okay, you guys can have it. I don't want it because I live East Coast." And nope, nope, nope. There was definitely there. It showed up. It arrived. It's a lot of snow. There's a lot of snow out there. Um, and luckily for me, my tire went flat yesterday, and I had to change it. And I thought to myself, "Wow, it would have sucked to really change that tire today." It would have really sucked. So, where am I and what am I doing? Well, I'm in Final Fantasy XIV, and I am picking up my last Ether charge, so I can unlock my flight. Then we'll get ready, and I'll prepare for the dailies and all that stuff. It'll be grand. Yeah, well, that's kind of interesting. Um, let's, hmm. Huh. Eh. Oh, right there. I was like, wait a minute. There is no way. Okay, there is no way. I was about to say, is this a trick? I'm not like jumping off that. Yay! It's unlocked. It's unlocked. All right. I'm free. Like a bird. Okay. So yesterday I ended up getting all my dailies done. Except my alliance raid? Well, I guess I could queue my alliance raid. But I need to actually go spend it because I have it. So let me go do that really quick. I'm capped at the moment. Alright. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at my gear score on. So I have a 267, 253, 248. 253, 258. That's pretty max. 257. I think my summoner just needs 260 gear. Yeah, pretty much. So we'll go with the summoner's gear. There we go. David, morning, dude. What's up? I wonder if I can get you to rage out again. Just jump down there. I hear there's a secret chest. No. That's a lie. That's a lie. No. So how far have you gotten in this game, David? I don't know. Like, have you Have you been still playing on the free trial? Alright. So, I can pretty much afford to get all my gear. So I want to go to 2. We want caster gear, obviously. So, this will be my 260 gear. Nice thing about this, it's a good way to play catch up when they readjust. I spent a lot actually. Okay. Oh, got to get rid of some of that stuff. My gloves are full. Alright. Now, since that's taken care of, we're going to... it's not a bad look. I actually kind of like that. Kind of looks cool. Alright. That reminds me, we're going to take all these out. We're going to retrieve our material. Haven't played in years, got to 40 something. Reinstalled it, checked to see if there was a free to play model, but there wasn't, so I haven't resubbed. Got you. Yeah, there is definitely, this is, well, at least you know you have the base game. Well, I don't know if you own the base game, but yeah. Alright. Now let me open my saddlebag to make sure I don't have any intel. Let me sort these, make it a lot easier on me. Spell speed. Move it all. I should have just picked it all. Alright. Might need to get intelligence. We definitely want to focus crit on some of our deeps. And the mender's up here, so hopefully. So we're going to go to the mender. Going to go to equipped. We're going to take a look at our stats first. Intel's max, spell speed we can use, crit's maxed, determination we could put a few in, and direct. So direct and spell speed looks good. Direct is really important. So we're going to go with direct. And spell speed for sure. Alright. look at this stat. Crit's low on here. So we can put another critical. So we're going to put a critical. We want crit really high. Determination. We can't forget about determination. That's an important stat as well. Hat. Direct looks good. Critical. Yeah, we want critical. Definitely crit, 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 and more crit. Critical again. So let's go to critical and a determination. Critical again and direct hit. And last but not least, I'm going to go with spell speed. Typically, I take that critical, but now we're going to save it. And we're going to take a look at our stats. 952 critical, it's my highest besides my intellect. Damage skills intellect. Obviously for a caster. We have our spell speed 869, that's really good. Determination affects the amount of damage dealt both physical and magical attacks. And then our direct hit affects the rate at which your physical or magical attacks land direct hits. Slightly dealing more damage than normal. So, but we got that nice critical up there. Focus, focus, focus. Alright, so let's go ahead and queue that because it's needing DPS. And while we're doing that, I'm going to go over to my main capital and try to sell some stuff. And I think me and Kel are going to get Palace of the Dead in today. I do need to do some Palace of the Dead. So... all right. It's unique. I don't know. Let me do it this way. For now. I'll store it on my retainer. This retainer actually doesn't have a lot of room. And then I'll go through it. These are our banks in this game. Actually, he doesn't have a lot of room either. I could do it this way. Take out my material. We'll sort through that. There's a bunch of stuff I've been... Gotta manage bank space, man. Alright. Looks good. So I get to the shoes. Alright. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine for now. It's been a minute since I've been on here, so let's see. On this tune. Let me go check out my macro to make sure it's still pretty good. There we go. Let me check that out. All right. Okay, that's why. I was wondering. It's like, wait a minute. Might have to switch that up. Oh, wrong button. What's this one called? Summoner support. Alright. As long as I don't have Garuda moused over. Sight. Okay, that's working. Okay. It said DPS, right? Yep, DPS. I'll have to clean up a bunch of little stupid things here. Alright. Oh, let's do a couple of minor adjustments here. While we're waiting. Okay. Right. That looks all good. That looks good. So we're going to sneak in some abilities that I'm not going to be utilizing. And we're going to place, obviously, like my Death Flare right here. And my Trance needs to be barred as well. Trying to think. We know Diversion's hitting. Gotta make sure Adel's hitting as well. It should be. I think I can afford to get rid of that. My Rune 3 should be, it's right here. So we're good there. And of course my Pain Flare. Oh, it's already there. So, yep, don't need that. So we'll move the Pain Flare over. My Pain Flare's on the bar too. It's just been a minute. Okay, let's try it again. Always. Okay. Good. Looks good. Just testing the waters. It's been a minute. Looks good, looks good. And I want to go ahead and hit my bio too when it needs to be on there. And the try is not going up. That's already up. More dots, more dots. More dots. nope, nope. Gotta get out of that habit. Alright. Still waiting on Q, as I'm just messing around. Biggest thing for me on this class is just to remember when the miasma's casting. See, once I have those dots up, I can go into a standard rotation. Okay. Pretty fucking cool. Haha. And here we go. I'm really good at macros. I'm really good at macroing. Oh my. We'll get it in time too. Sweet. What's up? Yeah, I'm really loving this game. I'm enjoying it a lot. I'm having a blast. Don't I look sophisticated? Top hat and monocle make a difference, don't they? Come on. I'm ready. I'm ready. Wonder which one I'm getting. Comes the question. Oh no. I was about to say, don't do this to me. Groot is still here? Yes. This one's actually pretty cool. This is only my second time being in this one. Oh my. Yeah, it's going to be hard for me to ever leave this game. I'm not going to lie. It's just going to be hard. Good luck. Good luck. Good luck. Rule of thumb when you're pugging alliance raids, stick with your party. Especially as a DPS. I still need to get Bahamut. Oh shit, get in. Shit. Woof. Ow. Read pass. Poison room. Oh shit. Looks good. Looks good! It's the tree hug. Gotta break the lines. I'm somewhere. I have no control. I'm but a puppet. Oh my god. No, 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 no. All right. Looks good. It's pretty smooth up to this point. Okay. Nice. Very nice. Oh, Capricorn, any hoes from Atlanta? I don't know. I don't know. I'm not in Atlanta. I know nothing about Atlanta. I haven't even been to Atlanta. I've been to Georgia, but not Atlanta. I think hoes are everywhere in the world. They can be anywhere. Stack, 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 stack. Out. Alright. Frozen. Oh shit. Nice. I think everybody did a damn good job there. No deaths. Smooth. That was paper smooth. I think I have that one. Nope, I do. No. I'll pass on that anyways. And I'll pass on the skirt. That was smooth. That was paper smooth. Alright. So, we got that done. I'm actually almost 62 on this, dude. That's pretty badass. Alright. So, I'm going to go back really quick. I'm trying to finish up my storyline. Well, at least up to... So let me switch my character to my main. So I'm 66 on my main at the moment. And halfway to 67. So I actually should be 60... I'm thinking 8 by the end of the day. And then hopefully... If not tomorrow, the next day, finish up at least 2 or 3 more days and to finish up the MSQ main story quest. Once I'm done with the MSQ, then I'll unlock the rest of my content as far as what I can access. I'm not worried about endgame currently because Shadowbringer, I will be playing some endgame. I'll be getting my gear score up as high as possible. Obviously, I will be running my endgame, but I'm not worried about it because there's going to be lifts. So weekly lockouts will be lifted sometime soon in the near future. When that occurs, I'll be gearing everybody. One thing about weekly lockouts, it does put you in a position where you have to focus your main to gear. Drop gear can get you up there, but if you're going to try to get your best in slot, you're always going to push only one main. Excuse me. I need to go make my coffee. You got to push your main. But... and right now, my main, why I'm leveling up so many, one, it's fun. So I have 6 characters in their 60s. 6 jobs in their 60s. So I have 2 healers, I have 2 DPS, and I have 2 tanks. So one's range DPS, obviously, one's close, one, and I still have to, like... And I'm working on 3 other classes. So by the time Shadowbringers comes, I look for me to have at least 9 to 10 dungeon jobs done, and then my crafting to be caught up. It's going to be interesting because I'm really enjoying the content. I'm enjoying the gameplay. I'm enjoying every aspect of this game in its entirety. And I really hope, and I'm not saying I wouldn't go back to any game specifically, but things would have to change for any specific game for me to relinquish what I've just begun to establish here. Not to say that can't happen. You can never say never. But it's like, I know people are upset that I'm not playing Elder Scrolls. I know they are, but at the end of the day, I got to do what's best for me. And if I'm not happy playing the game, you know, I'm burnt out. I had over 30-something tunes. I had 3 platforms, and when you see performance, and when you played as much as I have, and believe me, when you played as much as I have, it wears on you. You know, any small problems becomes taxing. You see it more and more. You see it for what it is. And I'm not saying that other players can't see it. Sometimes when a player plays the game for the first time, they can see flaws. and then they decide that's not a game for them. And no game is perfect, though. So there's not a game without issues, but, you know, what are you willing to deal with becomes the question. What are you willing to compromise? And certain things I can compromise and other things I cannot. So, you know, I'm not saying I would never go back to ESO, but at this particular moment, it's not in my best interest to go back to Elder Scrolls. And DC, I love DCUO. I love it. I love that game, but Daybreak, just piss poor people in charge of the world. Just piss poor decision makers. Just goes to show. They don't care about you. They only care about themselves. There is no loyalty when it comes to the elites, and that's sad. It's a sad way to live. There are a few out there that are, I guess, in the elite. Maybe the one of the 1% that actually is a humanitarian who actually says, you know, I'm not in this for me. I'm in it for the greater good. And that type of mentality would go very far. So, like Bill Gates, I think Bill Gates is a great guy because he's accumulated success and wealth, but he's taken a look at humanity as a whole, and that is inspiring. When somebody can be successful, when somebody can be, you know, accomplished as much as Bill Gates has, but it's not about giving back money. It's about, you know, putting humanity's future ahead of everybody else's intention. And that's good shit. That's really good shit. There's only a few people out there who can do it. Still talking about ESO. I'm interested in the new Neverwinter update. They are changing a lot. I see that. I got the notification on my email. It looks amazing. A couple of things, especially for endgame. I know a lot of endgame players have been a little disappointed with Neverwinter, but Neverwinter plays good. I like the play of Neverwinter. I don't like the item shop. That's it. They had to let those people go. They are trying to stay afloat. Now, trying to stay afloat, you know who? Who's, you know, Daybreak? I don't care if they fire people. They fired him 2 weeks before Christmas. You do it before or after. You don't do it right on the cusp of Christmas and say, hey, by the way, Merry Christmas. Send you out your door. It's the only reason I, you know, like, boycotted them. I can't support a company who doesn't think ethically. I had to take ethics every so often. You know, you do know Bill Gates stole from Steve Jobs to make his money. Damn right, yeah. They're all dude, seriously. They're called the Pirates of Silicon Valley for a reason, David. Bill Gates, what we use in Windows was actually developed by Xerox. A lot of Xerox and what was the other company? There was like 3 different companies that they took from to the mouse. The mouse was a taken idea. What we use today as the mouse. Integrated. Windows icons was, you know, a feature for fucking the camera company. Yeah, Daybreak was Daybreak, that was grimy, right? They could have done it before or after. I know they stayed afloat. I knew they had to like let people go. I get that, but you don't do it like right before Christmas, or that's even Hanukkah. So no one can say anything about a specific, even Kwanzaa, man. That's all within that time frame. It's like, what are you doing? That's like, it doesn't matter what holiday they celebrate. It's right there during that time. Like, you wait. It says Happy Holidays for a reason. It's just, you don't do it. You wait till after. You could have waited 2 weeks. You waited X amount of time. It doesn't matter. I mean, they had to do what they had to do. I'm not I'm not hating on him for making the decision, but you know, you make a decision. Timing is everything. Execution, timing is crucial. You know, that's bad publicity. You're asking for a hurt if you make that decision. Oh, I don't care what day it is. I don't care if it's Christmas. Yeah, I imagine not. It says a lot about people's perspective on humanity, and that if they can just go ahead and say, I don't give a shit what time it is. It's like an Ebenezer Scrooge move. But they gave me a CR210 character, so I'm good. Yeah. I have characters there. I have a 230 something, a 2 something, and another 210. Yeah. It's good. It's all good, man. I love the game. The gameplay's good. The devs, for as small as the team the devs are, they do a great job in DC. They do. DC's great. A lot of players just underestimate the game. It's really good. So, it's a great game. But, you know, once again, you know, I look at a bigger picture. Like, I went back to Blizzard, but Cal made a point. Why are you going to support Activision and Blizzard after everything they're doing? I'm like, that's a good point. Because I turned around and left Daybreak for 80 people, and Blizzard fired hundreds and hired in one person for millions. And I mean, that says a lot about a person if you support companies after you hear the facts. When you decide to support a company after hearing the facts, it says a lot about you. And we never think about it at times. You know, we just don't stop to think that about those other people that are affected because we don't see them. Right? We don't see them. Like ZOS threw Robo under the bus. Totally threw Robo under the bus. People, the community, the content creators, Outcast pointed Robo directly. And this is why I don't care if I've offended these content creators in the past. Because they threw one of the developers under the bus and used them as an scapegoat. Like it was one man's fault. And I'm like, that's not how companies work in this industry. It's not. It's not. You're not telling me one man created this entire problem with every class, with every ability, with everything, and then it's just like throw them under the bus. No. You know, if you want to make it that way, whatever. But they did. Robo was a recognized face, recognized developer that was expendable. He was a patsy. That's all it was. Somebody has to take a fall. I guarantee you certain of the higher people aren't going to take the blame. But that's the real world, isn't it? Now you have a man who's out of a job. So other people can protect their asses, cover their asses. They didn't need those people. They were mainly publishing people and esports people for the MOBA that died, etc. Yeah. You know, Blizzard? Are you talking about Blizzard now? Blizzard has no reason to fire anybody. They had the highest year, and they hired in one person for $14 million. Half that person's salary would have paid hundreds of people's annual salaries. You can't justify it. You can't. Nobody can. There's not one content creator that would agree with you, Dave. Not one. Quartering wouldn't agree with you. None of them would. Well, they got a DAOC PvP guy in there, so Robo had to go. Yeah, but what I'm saying, the way they did it was wrong. They could have just fired Robo if they didn't want him. But literally, like, everybody was calling for Robo's head in the forums and on a skew prior to this. It was like a giant witch hunt. If you're wrong, if you think I'm wrong, go check out the forums prior to his official release. It was bullshit. Yeah, for Blizzard. Yeah, Blizzard had they said they had an all-time high, and they hired one person for like an annual of 6 figures, bonus of 3 mil, and then with stock options and everything came up to about 14. They didn't end them. They didn't end what? They have no new game coming. That's their own fault. That's executives' fault. Yeah, I agree they're going to be hurting. But you don't turn around and hire somebody for that much money, putting $14 million out there, and then release hundreds, and then turn around and fire hundreds of people. That's not good PR. There is no person, at least who has a sense of dignity, that would agree with that. Nobody. I mean, we could speculate, but nobody. There's not one content creator that's saying, "Yay, Blizzard, good decision hiring this guy for $14 million." And then go ahead and turn around and can hundreds. So no need to keep those people. Then you trim the fat from the top, Dave. That's how companies usually, maintain. Nintendo did it. I can name off a couple. Square Enix has done it. There are companies who has done it, who took the pay cuts from the top, trimmed it from the top, to keep their workforce in place. If you've overhired, that's one thing, but hundreds of jobs? No. No. No, 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 no. No. You don't justify hiring one for millions and letting go of hundreds that are worth that amount. You don't do it. That's bad business. It's not good business. That's bad. That's like let's say you open up a lawn care business, right? And you hire in more people than equipment. What are those people going to do? Nothing. Whose fault was it? No, they don't what? I can't understand fragmented sentences. I'm waiting. If you don't think that's how they run business, you got to put down anything, man. Don't. It's like basically like saying you're creating a manufacturing company and you're getting material, but you have nobody to run the machines. You don't even have robots take care of the machines. Production and how things in operations work. I've worked in office jobs so many times. My wife literally worked in human resources for a company that had to deal with hundreds of employees. And the first thing they always did if they had to restructure was cut from the top, because they can't afford to let go of production company or the people who produce, because that's how companies generate revenue. That's it. That is how you run business. You can't tell me I come from a family that's all we do. That's all we did. Except my dad, he's a truck driver. And my uncle too. But literally, like my brother works in an office, mobile office most of the time. I worked in an office. My wife, she's a meat cutter now, but she worked in an office. We saw the bigger picture. We had to deal with people. We had to fire people as well. We all have. You know, it's not easy. They killed 2 games, so Blizzard didn't need those people. It's simple math. No need to have customer service and esports people. They were overstaffed. I agree with the overstaffed part, Dave. You're not getting what I'm saying. It's bypassing you. They were overstaffed. I agree with that. But they actually cut the esports. So when they terminated those people, that was their decision. They cut their own throat on esports. Nobody cut their Blizzard's throat on esports. They announced it months before. Now, of course, projections would go ahead and help make those decisions. I agree. The problem, here's your problem, Dave. And let me explain this. You don't terminate a force for one. If one person, it's that simple math, Dave. That's simple math. If one person's worth $50,000 a year, right? 50,000. 2 are worth 100, right? 10 are worth $1 million, right? So we have 10 people that's worth necessarily maybe $1 million. 10. And one person comes in and they fire all 10 people for one person that can only do one of their jobs or one of his own jobs. You just literally said, we don't need these 10 people. We need this guy worth $1 million. It's like the NFL. It's like basically saying, yeah, the quarterback makes the most money, but we've extended over our cap, so we're not going to have an offensive line for our quarterback. We're going to terminate our entire offensive line. He has nobody that will block for him, but it's okay. We spent the top dollar on our quarterback. It'll win us games, even though there's nobody defending him. That makes what sense? What sense? What world does that make sense? That statement makes sense. In what world? No, the CEO left. He was forced. He wasn't happy. Neither were the consumers. Neither were the consumers. Activision is influencing Blizzard so bad. And Blizzard's outsold Activision. So I don't even know what the fuck is going on over there internally to make anybody from the, Blizzard, or it's not from one aspect. It's a board. That's a board problem. The boards are, merged, and they're making the decisions and having them execute it on, executing the decisions. But people, and sometimes people behind the round table aren't necessarily the smartest individuals. I can tell you that. I can tell you that. But I've gotten to meet with a lot of big wiggies in the past. And I can tell you sometimes they're not the smartest. They're not the sharpest tool in the shed. They have resources. I'll give them that. Some of them are. I've met people that were really cool. There was actually, I grew up with one person. Her family was very well known. Very well. And it was kind of cool. She was just a very different type of individual. So, but she actually had a lot more going on upstairs than some of her family. Yeah, he was forced to leave. Yeah, I just said that. He was forced. He didn't. It wasn't a termination. No, they couldn't afford him to just say fired or something. Like I've been keeping up with all that, all of it. Been reading the articles. Been watching people speculations on it. But no, it's not smart business. Well, Blizzard is now owned by Activision. Well, they've been merged for years. They've been associated for years now. It's not nothing new. It's just now that it's literally taking it's surfacing. It's surfacing. That's all it is. You know, when you hear the stories, like, literally. But nobody's going to go ahead and tell me, like, oh, well, this makes sense from a business standpoint. No, it doesn't. Don't tell me about business. Don't tell me about business. Don't. I tell people, I literally, I told somebody from an Ivy League college, I'm like, if you don't understand this, you are not even on my level. You're not even on my level. You're not even close. You can't be. You will never be. I'm sorry. You just paid for a very, very, like, prestigious piece of paper that means shit. Mitch, what's up? Yo, Mystic, have you thought about taking your game company idea to Shark Tank? I'm sure you showed them the profit margins they'd invest in a second. Well, Mitch, 2 of the sharks have previous experience in companies, software companies. I think one of them would definitely dissect it and take a look at it in, you know, a realistic standpoint. So that's very possible. The other sharks, questionable. Like 2 of them, I would say I would almost have a chance. The other 2, what would be on right there, would be like, this is not my field of expertise. I'm out. You know, that's what I think would happen. So I wouldn't know. I mean, I've watched Shark Tank. My wife liked it a lot. I thought a couple of really good opportunities slipped through their fingers. But then a lot of the times, majority of the times, their decisions were solid for reasons, you know, from a business perspective. And when I took a look at it, I'm like, yeah, there's, you know, unless you can come up with a good idea, but unless you have the marketing a capable way of marketing and manufacturing that product, it's not going to come. It's not reasonable. So when I watched the show, I definitely, majority than not, I agreed with the sharks. But I do feel a couple of good ideas got slipped through. And it's funny because then my wife sees these companies like the little make it yourself gourmet meals that was there. They all passed on it. And now you can see commercials of that same company now existing. And the sharks passed it up. It's like I see a couple of opportunities they missed, and it did come to fruition. So, yeah. Even if they said no, it would be a good publicity. Yeah. I don't know. But see, here's the thing. Like, I could go out of state to do this. Like, I can get a hold of... I've already talked to, like, a couple companies. And there are a couple people that I could work for to as a producer to see it come to light. But it's not about the game. It was literally about trickle economics. And that's what I told one of my colleagues. I was like, listen... Should I call or at least get a hold of, you know, the senator and the congressman of Ohio and say, you know, you said basically fuck Ohio? And he's like, what? And I'm like, you would rather be contracted as a studio, contracted, meaning the revenue generated will go to the primary company. So if the company's in California, who's getting the taxable revenue? California, not Ohio. Ohio, if we set up shop here, we're saving in overhead, right? And the taxable revenue affects trickle economics. And he just shut up, and I'm like, listen, I did this when I was 19 years old. 19. At 19 years old. I would have passed it up as well. Who would eat those type of meals? I want my food fresh. That's not my point. It was. I agree. I understand what you're saying, David. But they missed the opportunity. It was a good business. It was a good business plan. The lady developed it, presented it. It had good production. The way it was designed was flawless. But they literally didn't think it would be a seller. And now it is. Now it is. It's like sometimes even people think they know that don't, is my point. Even millionaires can make mistakes. A lot more than you think. A lot more than you think. But anyways, yeah, it took off. It took off. Now you see those commercials, you know, where you can customize your own gourmet meal and have it ready when you get home and all that stuff. And easy, you know. I was like, why did you let that go? The cost to return was there. I was like, what the and as we're watching this, I'm like, what the fuck? And what was it, 2 years later? Now it's everywhere. It's like, why are you insane? But whatever. It's their money. It's their prerogative. Go capitalism. Yay. But I agree with you, Mitch, because it was because of that her company, her potential got recognized and somebody else jumped on the opportunity. But for me, it's not about like coming out with, you know, working for a company. It's not. It was about trickle economics. It was literally about generating taxable revenue for my state and to take the universities that are giving this education and applying it for people's potential futures. Of course, no one is perfect. Right. No one is. No one's perfect. But people, like, sometimes the problem with people with money is we all can be arrogant. I'm arrogant. I'm narcissistic. I'm a narcissist. Right? I have no problem acknowledging that. I didn't self-diagnose, so someone's like, you can't be a narcissist because you can't self-diagnose. I've been told I am a narcissist by a professional. I am a narcissist, but I embrace it, right? I do. I embrace that. I also have a superiority complex, very much so. I'm aware of that. That's a flaw. I also embrace it, though. But at the same time, when I take a look at something, I'm in a competitive mode at all times. At all times. I'm over excessively competitive, both in business and recreational. I'm very competitive. And it's, you know, maybe not so good for me. You know? I can be a little, you know, excessive. And I'm blunt. Even worse. Like, I've literally told my owners of the owners of companies I've worked for where to fucking stick it and begging, please fire me. Go ahead. I'll go next door and work for your competitor. I would beg them to do it. You'd ask my wife. My wife was like, because me and my wife worked together, and I literally walked in the office when the owner was there, and I'm like, you guys are fucking idiots. And literally, my boss literally told somebody else that was getting put in a position. They wanted to assert their authority on me, and my boss was like, don't fuck with him. He will smash you. And I cannot protect you, nor will I assert my authority on him, because when it comes to him, I don't have authority, because he's a producer. He produces results. And at the end of the day, that has more power than a position. Producing results has more power than a position. That's what I told my boss. I'm like, you know why you feel like you have no power over me? Because I produce. And that's a problem. Because you're put in a position you can't afford to get rid of me. She was like, yep, that's pretty much about it. And I'm like, so let's just come to an agreement here. I keep producing and you stay the fuck out of my way. And that's pretty much the way it is with me. I do my thing, and if you're above me, shut the fuck up and get the fuck out of my way. You're slowing me down. And that's costing money. And I don't like people above me who are stupid, who aren't very intellectual. I cannot respect anybody who isn't smarter than I am above me. So it's just like I do have a major problem. And at the end of the day, it's all about results. I always tell people, you can make excuses all you want in this world. The world's full of it. I don't give a shit. I don't. The only thing I want, and when I've ran teams of hundreds of people. The only thing I want results. I have no time for the weak. If you can't cut this, you might want to reconsider your position. And that's how I, always approach things. If you're striving to be the best, you're in the right place. It'll take time. It takes effort. You will fall. You will fall. There's a lot of times you will fall. But it's not about, the prize isn't with the dollar signs. The prize is within the results. Doing the right thing. Like, I remember, I used to have to take, ethic courses. I mean, I think it was 2000, I want to say 8 or something, where they changed our CE and they required X amount of re-implementation of ethics. Of business ethics. I was like, who wouldn't have ethics? And they're like, well, since this and since that, the government's locking down and we're requiring more, X amount of hours in ethics every time for your license and for all your licenses. So for every license you have to. Now some of them like could be crossed. Like, if I had this license, I took one CE in that, I'd be good for all of them, but I'd still have to accumulate the amount of hours for each license I had. So, yeah. And my wife was the same way. So, but crazy, man. Now you go to a bank and they don't even have the same certifications like when I first started. Like, I'm like, you guys don't have this? Nope, we did away with that. Shut up! I'm like, what about this? Nope, did away with it. I'm like, shut up! Really? Interesting. Times have changed. Times have changed. It is what it is. But it's a good idea, Mitch. It's a really good idea. But it's not about money or whatever. It's about affected. My company was going to introduce a game that was for the gamer and have growth for my state. Because one of the things about it is I was able to save the overhead, right? I was going to be able to save the overhead in development due to the cost of living, which was significant. Generate taxable revenue for the state, which was more than considerable amounts of potential revenue. And locally, provide future jobs and employment. especially for students who were, you know, studying in the related field. Unfortunately, the end result is I have people locally who hold giant pieces of paper saying I have a master's degree and literally are fucking clueless. Like, when a person with a master's fucking degree or even a fucking bachelor's degree fucking will say, oh, I thought it was only one person that develops an MMO. I'm like, oh my God. I really hate the yearly ethic courses. Right. It used to be where it was just like you would take X amount of courses and be like, okay, I've got to take this. I've got to take that. I'm good. But now, I think it was 2008. I'm not sure. It was like almost like over 10, 11 years ago. That shit changed. And they literally said, okay, well, now you have to have X amount of ethics in at all times. Every 2 years. So every 2 years, we'd do our this, and we'd have to have that. And I'm like, and that's the way it goes. I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. You listen, you follow federal regulation and guidelines and state regulation guidelines, and each usually are on track with each other, and they don't ever contradict each other, but different state guidelines can differ based on different products. But regardless, yeah, I'm not a nice guy. And if I've ever worked, any of my coworkers would tell you that. Like, you know, Mystic is not a nice guy. He's not. They tell you. They're like, you know, he's not. He's definitely a dick. He's a douche. And they're like, but he, you know, he produces the top results. He gets these numbers. They're like, and he knows it. He knows what his value is. He knows his worth. But it wasn't about money. It wasn't about like, oh, I need to make X amount of money. It was about the competitive aspect of what I was doing. I had to be number one. It didn't come with a dollar sign. It had to come with, you know, the related number. You know, if I was going to push forward, it was going to be because I was number fucking one. I set the bar, motherfuckers. Now bow the fuck down. That's the way it was. And if I made companies millions of dollars, I'll smack you backwards if you think you know this shit better than I do. You own it? I created it. You know? You might own it, but I created this shit. But in the end, you know, I don't like people who try to want to. There's always people in this world. There are always people in this world who want to assert their dominance over others. I hate those type of people. I'm not one of those type of people. I take people in and I want to make them basically competitive, to be survivors, to be able to thrive in the chaos, to prove to no other person but themselves that they can accomplish what others deem impossible. That's what I do. And I've trained so many people to do it. And it was like, if you don't believe for a second you're capable of this, then you will never amount to anything in this industry. You will have to literally look at it like a crazy, sadistic element that you could never imagine. Imagine the worst case scenario, you're in it. You are now in it. And that's the way it was. And I know it sounds crazy, but it worked. Like, my tactics always worked. And literally, I was like, who comes first? The company or the consumer? And some people say, the company. I'm like, no, the consumer. The consumer. So at the end of the day, the one that owns it wins. The one who owns it is only as good as his production. You might own it, but you'll lose it if you can't produce it. Remember, just because you have something doesn't necessarily mean you can produce it. That was the golden secret. That was my golden ticket, David. I knew that better than they did. They knew it too. You own it. But I create it. Meaning they have no business without me. And people will be like, you're expendable. Absolutely. Sure I am. I totally agree with that. Totally agree. They're reaping the benefits. That's fine. But I'm like, all these mini-me's, they're all led by me. They're all led by me. I created them. I produce it. You get rid of the main cog in a clock, and the gears stop spinning. Sure, you own it. It's not running. You need people. You always will. Always. You will always need that right person. And unless you have that perspective, you are definitely not going to be a business person. Because the smart business person knows key people. They know it. There's key people you can't afford. They're not so easily replaceable. You can make them believe they're replaceable. Yeah, sure. But not everybody is. They're called key figures, key people. No, you get people to make it grow. I wish it was that simple. Listen, I worked in insurance, and I can tell you there's a policy that companies take out on what they call key people. And you can look it up. You can look it up. Not everybody's built the same. They're not. They're just not. They'll always make you believe that everybody is replaceable. And to a certain degree, everybody is. But that doesn't necessarily mean the company produces the same results. That's just statistical facts. The king runs it. The general defends it. The general is just another pawn on the board. Yeah, but the problem of it is without the general, the king gets gains no ground. Remember, the king can only move one space at a time. It's the queen that actually has all the power. Checkmate. Checkmate. Part of anything is about psychoanalyzation. It's about psychoanalyzation. Understanding your opponent, even on a board. Understand, and do not assume anything. You adjust your positions. That's the art of war. Divide and conquer and manipulate to your advantage. Sacrifice the pieces needed. That's needed. Sacrifice is hard. You don't want to necessarily have to sacrifice, but you make the sacrifices needed so you can manipulate the situation to your favor. Yes, I have looked at that policy, right? So it's what I'm trying to tell you. It's not so easy. It's not. You know, my brother, he makes six figures. He's good. I don't even make close. I'll probably will never see that probably the rest of my life, more than likely. But he does good for himself. I have family who makes seven figures. Good for them. But in my family, that's what we're taught. That is true. The queen is a beast. Right. Right. The king's a headpiece, man. Yeah, you need the king to win, but the king can't win a game by himself. He never could. You know why? Because he has no power. He's only as powerful as his pieces. Yeah, he wins the game. He's the decision. He has to stay on the board to win. But he has no power. He's never had any power. Yeah, he has it all, and yet at the same time he has nothing. See, that is what people fail to realize, Dave. That's what people fail to realize. That's it. So if you own it, you don't win. You never did. You were just under the illusion that you had a bargaining chip. But when a person realizes how valuable the bargaining chip really is, a person like me, I tear it apart. The person has nothing without these people. Without a workforce, and this is the type of family I grew up in. Without a workforce, you have nothing. Without pieces on a board, you're exposed. And you will never win. You need the people on the board. And my family holds that to be true to this day. That's what's taught. That's what's implemented. These are the kind of seeds that were sown into me from a very young age. Very young. What it really takes. And you'd be surprised. A lot of manipulation, man. But you know what? Justification, like my grandfather always said, you cannot afford. If one man walks off, we all walk off. He's like, because it sets the example. My startup is growing and you have to know your consumer base. Absolutely. Absolutely, Dave. Absolutely. You have to know your consumer base. You do. It's relative. But just remember, businessmen and women, business people don't, you know, the inner circles of the way it works is, it's sick. It's disgusting. In some ways, I would almost deem it criminal. You know? And it's just, and when you get to know the people, like, dude, like, my one friend, you wouldn't even know. You would never know. Most people don't. He doesn't, it's like, whatever. You know? They are who they are. That was my point. The owner gets all the glory, but the workforce is the most important. Right. Right. But he doesn't win. He doesn't win. In the end, your success is literally hinged with how to manipulate the pieces on the board. Strategize it. But it doesn't necessarily mean you win because you were reliant on those people. And if a piece understands its true power, its position on that board, you're fucked. Because that's who I was. They didn't win in the end. I manipulated them. And that's what I would say. You lose for two reasons. One, I know what I can do. And two, you know what? But you know what? It's neither here nor there. The point of it is, in certain ways, I don't like who I became. I didn't like what I've become. And when you have a conscience, that's a problem too. And I won't get into it, but let me tell you something. There's not one person, there is not going to be ever a person who tells me about business. From a small end, a big end, a large, whatever. I'm like, I grew up around so much shit and what I've seen and what I was taught and everything I had to endure. Nah. You better have relevance, man. You better know. And I told the person, I'm like, I have the scores. You can't tell me shit. Good luck. Like I told a colleague of mine, you have no idea. You have no idea. But anyways, I wish you the best, man. I really do. I like you, David. You know I do. Mitch, good idea. I just don't, you know what? Honestly, like I said, I'm not worried about it anymore. I really ain't. I tried to do it for the state. I tried to do it for the right reasons. And that's my problem. That was my problem. And don't let that get it twisted. When you try to do it for the right reasons, that's a problem. When you try to do it for right reasons, don't do it. Because the people who really want to exploit the position don't want to ever hear it's for the right reasons. That's the truth. All right. And heads up, one person is never worth your force, your workforce. One person does not make the whole. Never will. That's math. All right, man. I'll let you guys go. Once again, thank you guys. I'm Mr. Craven. This is Mystics MMOs. And as always, thank you. Have a nice day.